Hey everybody, and welcome back to a yoga jiu-jitsu inspired practice this morning. We're going to start off with some things for the first day jiu-jitsu person, things we don't even know we need to know. And so let's get started right away. Typically in the class you do have to wear a belt, you do have to wear a gi, and so it's always going to be left lapel over right. This being your rank bar will always end up on your left side. Tying the belt though, it begins on your right. So we'll put left over right on the jacket. Holding that down here, we'll cross behind our low backs. That goes down first, so this is over top, right? This is the first side of our knot. Right here. This comes up and over. And behind there, between these two, and there's a belt. Of course, you can see there's a crease back here. So another way to tie your belt, if you want to be pretty about it, is that you're going to stay left over right. You'll have your rank bar hanging about where it would, but just on the wrong side. We'll loop this around our back. One more time. And here's the beginning of our knot. This will come up here, behind the two, up and over. This one comes on top of that, behind it, and then between these, outside of this. So here we are. Now you've got a nice pretty knot, the back nice and straight. So we'll get started with some stretching. If you have a mat, that's great. If you don't have a mat, a little bit wider than your shoulders. We're going to stand here, both feet parallel to one another, facing forward. We're just going to have our hands on our hips and kind of lean side to side, get our body moving. If you practice yoga, this is the top of a sun salutation A. So of course the next thing we're going to do is step onto the mat, reach all the way back, up and over our head for that forward stretch. Now we're going to stand wide and squat here for a minute. Let our elbows post into our elbows, and we'll sit into this. I put the hands together. You don't have to. You can reach forward. This helps me increase the pressure on my knees. I don't want to go too hardcore, but I can sit down into this nice, and when you're ready, we'll step a bit closer, drop one knee, raise the other. And now we'll look for our up dogs to down dogs. So guys, you want to do as many of those as you feel you need to. If you ever want to pause this video, please do so and take more time to each exercise. The next thing that we're going to do is talk about tech stands, talk about triangles, and how to drill these on your own. And so on your mat, you're going to want to sit, and you want one leg to be flat, the other leg steps in front of that, and we'll sit behind that leg. So this is how you sit, this is how you're mobile, so that as I go to this side, even my leg can recover that. If I fall to this side, my hand can post. This is back here, and here we are with the ability to move. If you practice yoga, there are ways to combine jiu-jitsu and yoga to let it be one seamless flow. And so through these videos, we'll find out that the body has a relationship, whether it's doing yoga or doing jiu-jitsu, it's all using the body all the same. It's just a matter of what is our goal. So we're going to start now with our legs. We're going to swing them on the inside and then towards the outside, pummeling our hips, a lot of times gaining the lasso, which we'll do next. This is the movement that gets you ready to do that one. Also works out your core, works out your hip flexors, and gets you ready for the drills after all. This So we'll sit right to our backs. Your head's always going to be up. Our hands are always here or here for some of these movements. I like to be here to always imitate the grapple, because if you're going to train, you want to be ready for an active situation, not just one in your living room. So again, pause if you're going to need to do this again or do it for longer. It's up to you how long you want to make this practice for. Now that we took all this time tying our belts, we're going to take that off and look at the functionality and why do we learn to pummel our hips and get comfortable doing so. If, let's say, we're fighting somebody and we have grips on their sleeves, we're going to want to take our leg at some point and maybe take a lasso. And it's good to be able to get comfortable. If you don't drill something, you're not going to do it. So one way to gain the ability to elevate your attacks on people and your control is to drill this position. And so you can either use your belt, knee height like we saw in the other video, we're stepping here, and maybe first focus on just being stable right here. And then eventually we're going to kick, take this, we'll sit up, we're back. And I like to see if I can come back here. If I can stay up the whole time, I'll do so. So as you drill, you can use your belt Another good way to practice your grips, getting them stronger, is of course to use your jacket instead of your belt. So what we'll do here, take the sleeve, we'll look for that spider grip, so we're going to just have this folded like so. The four fingers are going to go in here, and the same thing on the other sleeve. So you're by yourself, if you want to just fold these, make it easy on yourself, that's fine. This will be here. So what we're going to do is step right on the jacket where we would have stepped on our opponent. And here we are. The control. A key point for me is that my elbows are never this, they're always this. So that when I'm here, this is strong, this is passable. The next step, of course, is that this comes on the outside over top, pushing. And back up. So you can use your jacket, you can use your belt, you can use any length of material. You don't have to be concerned, is it a gi jacket, is it a gi jiu-jitsu belt? Can I do these things? If you don't have a kettlebell, use something heavy. Use something that'll challenge you to move so that you don't have to feel confined as much as we all are confined. So now that our hips are open, we're going to start talking about the tech stand. We're stable here because we have a post, we can move. I think about if I have to push somebody away, I'm off the ground, I'm extending forward, keeping them at a distance, and then pull this through, and then here I am. So what we'll do is we're going to sit in our technical base. If you want to just sit up, the technical lift, here we are. You can go back and forth, just like this, keeping these elbows in tight until you feel satisfied that you're open and that your body is doing this well. If you want to take it a step further, we're posted, we're guarding ourselves. We have this relationship elbow to knee. Hips up, push your opponent away. There will be a person standing there when you do this in real time, so you'll be able to post on them, push off their body, pull this on through, and we're standing ready to re-engage. So we're here. This would be the break fall. Of course, we're not on padded floor, so you want to be careful. We're back up. Extend away. Ready, You can sit. And if you want to roll back, it's okay. This isn't a floor you're going to want to be break falling on, but I encourage you to make it as real as you can. The next thing we're going to do is talk about our triangles and our tech stand, which helps you get a lot of movement on your mat, helps you do a lot of jiu-jitsu, gets you working out. So here we are in this situation here. We already saw that we can be here in the stand up. I don't even have to touch the ground. We're up. So at the same token, this same position, my legs and my body, if I were to be back, there's your triangle. And so the thing that people misunderstand early on is that when we fall back and we shoot our legs high, one leg comes across here, this over top. A lot of people don't understand what's going on there early on because they've never actually done the triangle before. So the opposite arm is of course between your legs as your legs wrapping around. So to do this successfully, you want to sit here, we'll come up, we'll fall back, up. And then as we come back, we'll switch the legs, up, side to side until you feel satisfied. Thank you, buddy. All right, so we warmed up our grips, we warmed up our hips, we learned how to tie our belt, we've learned some different ways to navigate doing these drills, whether you have a belt, a jacket, a piece of string, whatever it may be. So now think about your core. I mentioned earlier that when you're on your back, you're always active. So you're never like this, you're pretty much always like this, because you want to make sure to see what's going on and to be all the way flat. Your heart and your head, they're even. Your blood pressure is going to drop. You're not going to be able to keep yourself elevated. But if you're here, you're already engaged and ready to work. And so we're going to think about, how do I develop these muscles on top of throwing your legs up for the triangle, to turn and be able to be active here while being a base here is also big. So for your Kimuras, what we'll do without the legs, this hand is going to reach up as if it were to be over his shoulders, this hand holding this wrist. And of course you reach up and over behind the armpit, grab your wrist, and then you send it on home for the Kimura. Without a partner, your feet will keep you stable as if there were a body there, and you'll have your hands rigid, just like this, reaching forward. We'll get to right here. If you want to have a little bit of a turn, you can, but I suggest staying on the ground. So at first, make sure that the movement is good. Grabbing your wrist, staying committed to the side, because if it was a submission, you would keep this. If it were the sweep, you would come up and send it. On the way back down, use your feet to resist against the ground, much like your tech stands, where we're here, I'm up because of this leg and I'm down because of this one. Always ready to go. So now we'll talk about our hip escapes. Of course, the feet are on the ground. The opposite relationship, this foot to this hand, this foot to this hand, is always there, whether it's jiu-jitsu or yoga. So for your hip escapes, we're gonna have our feet planted. This is the one that'll do the effort for this time around. We'll be up, pushing away, no longer on the ground, escaping, and we're back. Yoga mats will be tough to do this because they're going to want to grip. The better the mat, the more it's going to grip to your body. So just make sure that you're either off your mat or you're really being clear with your body not touching the ground. So we're here, up, any combination that you would like to involve, you can do. The reverse hip escape, a little harder to do on your yoga mat because it involves you actually sliding on the ground, but so that we're not missing anything important. The reverse hip escape is that we're going to be here, here, my butt to my foot, and we're forward. The idea is that our feet are hooking behind our opponent's knees so that as they try to retreat, we are able to follow. So now that we've done some jiu-jitsu, always feel free to pause at any time to extend any of these workouts. We'll do some yoga to open our bodies back up from how tight we felt from doing all that work. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for more to follow. Namaste.